Annette from Ritter's Garden and Gift. I just wanted to talk to you guys about our orchids. There's a lot of different misconceptions about orchids, so people avoid them. But I want to show you guys how easy they are. And one of the best things about orchids is that they're all so different and there's so many different types that you can almost always find something that's going to suit your needs and what you have going on in your household. So one of my favorites that we have right now, it is called the Orchid Sweet 16. One of the reasons why I love this so much is because it's related to a very famous orchid called the Cherry Baby. And the Cherry Baby is really famous because it has a very strong chocolate and vanilla smell. And this guy was bred to have prettier flowers, but that same smell. And it's extremely easy to grow, very forgiving orchid. It's a great starter one. And if you're after that fragrance, this is gonna be perfect for you. It can really fill a room with its fragrance. It's very delicious. You'll be eating a lot of chocolate after you buy this. A few others that we have, if you're not a very big fragrant person, this is the Tan Treasures. This is one of my favorites because it's one of the few orchids that has ruffled edges, and the colors, it's very hard to find that red-orange mixture color on any plant, let alone a house plant. And that goes for its relative right here. This is the Firecracker. Very, very fun spikes, and they last for a very long time. These flowers are gonna last you at least a month, if not longer. And those first three I showed you are all very easy to grow and maintain. And like I said, very forgiving, so they're a very good starter orchid. Another thing that we have that's really nice is if you don't have a lot of space, we have a lot of compact orchids that stay really small. For example, this one is called the Nemo Orchid. It's super cute. It's a type of Dracula orchid, which means it's gonna get these really small pink orange blossoms that have really long tendrils. It's really adorable when it blooms, and all of these are blooming size. So even though they're this small, they will be getting flowers soon. So this is perfect for you if you just have a really small space, but you want to add something unique and a pop of color. And then if you're like, well, I want to do that, but I want some fragrance, we have this little guy. He is called Twinkle White. He has these tiny little blossoms that look like little clusters, and it smells very nice. It's not as strong as the chocolatey one, and this is more of, it smells like a really nice hand soap. So this is a great guy also. As you can see, it has the flower spike and is only this tall. So that's another one. And then another one of my absolute favorites is the Merriden Orchid. This guy is super cool because even if you don't like the appearance of orchids without their flowers, this guy is going to be just for you because it has the coolest leaves. A very cool green and purpley pattern, and then on the back side it's more purple with that green, kind of that cool contrast. A very beautiful orchid. Its blooms are very nice and orange, and a very cool thing about this guy as well is that most orchids, when you're done with them, you have to cut off the spike, and then next season it'll send out another one. This one keeps blooming from the same spike repeatedly, as long as it has the good light. It's called a sequential bloomer. So it just keeps on giving out those blossoms, which is really fun. And then another one of my absolute favorites, and this orchid probably dominates my entire personal collection, but this is the Mtonia Orchids. This one's about to unfurl its bloom, but all of them have a very deep, rich color, and the petals get huge. They are also called the pansy orchid because they have that really pretty kind of pansy shape and size, but the colors are usually a very deep magenta, and then they'll have, you know, a little bit of yellow or white to really give a lot of contrast. So these guys, they're absolutely beautiful. When the blooms unfurl, they go so quickly. So if this is something you're interested in, you kind of have to come in and get it early, otherwise it will be gone. These ones are slightly less forgiving than these ones that I showed you, but they're still fairly easy to take care of, and they really do just have like the most beautiful blossoms I've ever seen. Like, it is hands down one of my favorites. You really just can't beat that or that color, especially in a house plant. You know, I don't really know any other house plants that have blossoms like this. And another thing with, you know, almost all orchids, with care, the blossoms can last for at least a month, if not more, if they have the right circumstances and care, which is really fun because it's just always there. It's a great conversation piece. They're not as fragrant as the other ones. Every once in a while you'll smell it and it has a light cinnamony scent to it, but it doesn't really fill the room or really draw your attention because of its fragrance like the Twinkle and the Sweet 16 do. So this is kind of more if you're more of a looks person than a fragrance person. And then another one that I'm very excited to have for the winter is this. It's called the Dendrobium mini Snowflake. As you can see, it has these buds, and when it unfurls, they really do look like little snowflakes have been clustered all over the plant. So this guy is pretty fun. It can be a bit tall and gangly, and then we also have some that are more short and compact. It kind of just depends on the plant. But they're super cute, and they're winter bloomers. So you can almost always guarantee to have these in bloom around the winter time, which is something else that's really hard to find kind of anywhere. You know, winter is pretty hard pressed to find anything that's gonna flower. So this is a super cool one. This would make a great Christmas gift because it goes perfect with that Christmas theme. Pretty easy to take care of, and just really cute little flowers. And then we also have some Catlias. They're not in bloom, so I haven't pulled one out to show you, but they get very large, beautiful blossoms, which is really fun. All of our orchids are blooming size, so if you want to come in and see our Catlias, I can show you pictures of all the different kinds we have. Catlias are known for getting blossoms about 5 inches, you know, across, which is really fun. And they all have just beautiful colors. We have some that are like a light blue and purple to a yellow and pink. So if you want to know more about those types, you should definitely come in and see me. I'd love to talk to you about them. And then another thing I just wanted to go over is that people say that orchids are really difficult and hard to take care of, and that's really not true. They just grow differently than most of your houseplants do, and so people think of them as difficult, but really all you need to do is realize its natural environment and find, you know, little ways to replicate that, which is really your goal with any houseplant. But what's cool about orchids is in tropical climates like Hawaii, they grow sideways on the tree, and their roots, you know, grab around the tree, and that's how they grow. And so because of that, you don't plant your orchids in potting soil, but rather in moss and bark. And then they're used to having, you know, kind of a lot of humidity like there is in Hawaii, which can be easily fixed if you don't have a lot of humidity just by misting it, you know, once every other day. If, you know, most of these can do even less than that, and that kind of gets that fix. And then a lot of them are used to having a lot of airflow around the roots. And so we have special pots that have kind of, they'll have little slits in them or decorative holes to kind of give that airflow to them, because they're used to, you know, being high in the trees and having all of that wind. And, you know, once you get those little things down, it's very simple and, you know, very easy, low maintenance plant. You just water when, you know, you can tell the moss or bark is dry, and that's kind of it. There are a few that are more forgiving than others, like I pointed out, but all of them can be a wonderful and great houseplant and not difficult at all. So I want to make sure that you guys know to not be intimidated by it, because it's a very fun and honestly addicting houseplant to have, because you start collecting all of these cool flowers and blossoms, because they really are truly unique, which is why I love them so much. So anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions or want to talk about it or get more information, please come in and see me. I love to talk about my orchids and get everyone set up so they can enjoy them too. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.